and then Logan Jones and Mark Gronowski offensively. So those 4 guys will be our captains, and then medically, Jazz will not make the game. So Patterson's out certainly this week, and we'll see how that goes as we move forward. And like I said, Indiana's a really good football team. Anybody that saw the game Saturday night was, you couldn't help but be impressed. Really played well. Had a great year last year. We didn't play them last year, but you watch them on exchange tapes. They, kept popping up, and just so impressed with the way they played, first and foremost. Good personnel. Coach Signetti's come in, done a great job. Really upgraded their personnel last year, and beyond that, they're really well coached. Didn't see a game where they didn't play hard, and looked like a really good football team. And from my vantage point, I think they're a better football team this year. They've upgraded even more with their personnel. Done a good job at the transfer portal, and also developing the guys that they have on their roster. So, they're really playing at a high level right now. It didn't look like they had a flaw the other night at all. Just a really strong performance, and it's pretty much been that way all season long. Every game they've been in, they've been winning very decisively. So just extremely impressed. Coach Signetti and his entire staff, and most of those guys came with him from James Madison. So, they've got an identity, got a plan, and it's really worked out very, very well. So big challenge for us there. Just a couple words about our kid captain. Jason Engstrom's our young guy this year, 17-year-old, I believe, from Waterloo, and was diagnosed early with a rare brain disorder, brain disease called Bratton syndrome. So he's certainly fought through his challenges and done a really good job, and basically defying the medical experts in some ways, and is a senior at Waterloo West right now. And his parents say just young guy just generates real positivity on a daily basis. So great to have them with us on Saturday and be in Kinnick, and look forward to that. And just last but not least, good to be home. Certainly it was a late trip Friday night, Saturday morning. So good to be back home, and certainly good to be in Kinnick. It's going to be a great atmosphere. And we've got a lot of activities around the 85 teams being honored, homecoming. So a lot of things outside the building, outside of the stadium, but most importantly, a big challenge for us. We'll look forward to trying to get ready for that. I'll throw it out for questions.
David Eichel, HawkeyeInsider.com. Kirk, the difference between Mark Gronowski in the passing game from week 1 to last game, it's pretty evident. I guess from your vantage point, where have you seen them really kind of take that next continued steps forward? And I guess just seems like Mark's playing with supreme confidence right now compared to maybe that first game against Albany.
Yeah, I think, first games are tough for everybody typically, every player on the roster, but certainly somebody that hasn't been in the program, and he missed spring ball, and I don't want to minimize that at all. I don't think you can minimize it. I think that, especially with our offense, there's a lot of verbiage, a lot of things going on. So it takes time to get acclimatized a little bit, and I think with each week he's more and more comfortable running the offense and, operating, leading the team out there. So it's been good to watch him grow with confidence. Not surprised by that. He's just a really high-quality guy. But I think you can't overstate the importance of practice and repetition. True in any offense, certainly, but for what we do, I think it's really, really important for him.
Hey, Kirk, Tom Kakert, Hawkeye Report. Wanted to ask you about running back with Jazz out. Is it Kamari and then McNeil, Washington?
Few the proud, the free. Whoever's healthy is in there. So, we got Kamari back. He looked really good the other night, and he's doing great. TJ certainly is ready to roll, and then Nathan will be the next guy up. So it's pretty much where we're at right now, and we'll play with the guys we got.
Chad Lastico, Des Moines Register. Is Dahl out again this week, just in that depth?
He will be available for depth, but he just started practicing yesterday. Today's Tuesday, so yesterday, and he's missed a lot of time.
All right, I just want to ask about, so Jalen Watson got in the last couple series from Phil put him in instead of Deshaun Lee. I guess where do things stand at that second cornerback position right now for you guys?
Yeah, I think competitive. It's a little bit like last year. We were rotating guys a little bit too. So TJ right now is the most experienced and, is really taking a good step. And Deshaun's done a lot of good things too. I think just there are a lot of big challenges out there. We probably should have told somebody should have had Joe Anderson mimic number 9 last week in practice. He's probably the closest guy we have to him. He's more impressive in person than he was on tape even. So, no, all three of those guys will be playing. Really happy with Deshaun. Deshaun's done a great job, and We have high hopes for Jalen too. So those are our top three guys, and we'll probably rotate them all through. These guys have another great group of receivers. So it's a big challenge for us.
Madison Ertic, The Gazette. I wanted to ask about Kurt Cignetti's quick rise and turnaround for this program. Have you ever seen a head coach be able to make that kind of adjustment for a program like Indiana and bring it to a national spotlight like this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to think long and hard if anybody's done it. It's been very, very impressive. And part of it is, we're in a new era, if you will, where it's a little different when a coach comes in because of the portal. And, new coaches now can basically, I think, clean their roster out if they choose to. I'm not suggesting he did that. And then the players can transfer pretty freely. One of the things I'm impressed with is how many players came from JMU. I think it was in the teens last year. We didn't play them, but I think I heard like 13, 15, something like that. But I do know this, the first bye week we had last year, I can't remember who they were playing. I was just kind of flipping channels. And I was like, I don't know who that 13 guy is. And I looked it up. It was a guy from JMU. A lot of their best players are guys that came from there. And I think that's two things that, everybody always worries about recruiting. A lot of those guys that played for them at JMU, I'm sure, weren't recruited by Power 4 schools. Yet they're playing power football right now. 13, I mentioned him. Two of their best defensive linemen, in my opinion, are guys that played for him. They got a couple linebackers that played for him. So a lot of those guys really did a good job. But the fact that those guys came with them and really gave them a good foundation. They went out and got a really good quarterback from Ohio University, a grad transfer, I believe. So you have more available to you in today's age when you switch coaches. But all that being said, I'm not minimizing the job they've done there as a coaching staff and the players that were there last year and the ones this year. It's just really impressive. And then just give you, rattle down the road here a little bit, but one of my curiosities is when you make big roster changes, how do you get guys to play cohesively? And they've done that. They did it last year, and they're doing it right now too with a lot of new players again. So that's really impressive. That's really good coaching, and they clearly have a vision of what they want to be, and looks like it's working really well for them. Yep.
John Sears, WHO-TV. Kirk, Indiana's putting up some pretty gaudy offensive numbers. What are the biggest challenges that they present to your defense?
Where do you want to start? It's hard to find a weakness. It really is. And, I'm not saying it's like playing Ohio State, but there's some similarities in my mind. If you look at their offense, got a big physical offensive line, a couple newcomers there that have really helped them. Right tackle, center, start right there. I think the other three guys were there last year, although I think one of them was a transfer as well, maybe a year ago. But they're a big physical offensive line, two really good tight ends that are very effective and very, the one guy made the big play the other night with the long touchdown. And then those three receivers as a group, I mean, they're all really good individually, but as a group, kind of takes you back to Ohio State where, pick your poison. They had 2 first-rounders and another guy's pretty good. So, you got that, and then in the backfield, they got 2 really good running backs right now, and then the quarterback might be the best quarterback in the country. Somebody was saying he's a leader for the Heisman. I don't have a Heisman vote, but I'd vote for him based on what I saw. He looks really good too. So I think that's part of their set. That's why they're putting up those numbers. They can run the ball, pass it. They've got the ability to hit the big play. And the quarterback, I'll go back to him for a second. He gets the ball out extremely quick. It's going to be tough to even get a hand on him. And he'll run it. But when he runs it, they've got designed runs for him, and then they also have he'll flush out, but he's looking down. He'll look to make a throw on the run, which is really tough to defend. So, there's not much to. And then on top of it, they're playing really good on defense. They're very aggressive, and they're good at playing with a lead, which they've pretty much been doing all season long.
Brad Schultz, Daily Iowan, Coach, your
I forgot about special teams, right? First touchdown was a block punt. Other than that, I mean, there's no problem. Yeah.
Coach, you're 0-10 in your last 10 against ranked teams. What do you have to do differently this weekend to get a win?
Probably score more points than whoever it is we're playing. Yeah, that's about as good as I can do on that one. Yeah.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. First, is Seth Anderson, will he be available?
As far as I know, yeah, he's practiced the last 2 days, so hope to have him out there. Yep.
And just curious, the Rutgers, the way they were able to pass it in like the first quarter, first half, how much was that like your own, you guys versus what they were doing in the passing offense? Like, what was your kind of diagnosis of that?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't perfect, and I thought their execution was pretty much flawless. The quarterback was really doing a great job putting the ball where he had to. Mentioned the receivers, but the bad news is like we've got a similar challenge here. This quarterback is a really probably a better thrower, and the receivers aren't as tall as a 9 and 8, but they're pretty. 13's a tall guy; he's got good size, but they're all really good players. So. Yeah, we're just going to have to do a better job. We did a better job in the second half, disrupted them a little bit better. And you just got to do a lot of the little detail stuff that maybe we weren't doing well enough in that first half, which gave them access to makeable plays, and then their execution was excellent. And I would expect, based on what we see out of Indiana, that their execution is really good in the passing game too. So we're going to have to try to find a way to disrupt things a little bit. But like I said, getting the quarterback's tough. He gets the ball really quickly. So a lot of challenges here.
David Eichel, Hawkeye Insider. Kirk, really quick, is Reese Van Der Zee still on track to return after
Hope
the bye
so.
week?
Yeah, hope so. I'll know more, when we get back
Sure.
next week, but
And then,
hope so.
okay, and then on Dayton Howard, he had that 42-yard catch. I guess, what have you seen from him? Because it seems like now he's starting to get some more run. He's really improved as a blocker, but he just has kind of a different sense of different physical attributes than some of the other receivers, and maybe a big downfield threat. What have you kind of seen from him?
Yeah, I think I said this before the season got going. The first 4 or 5 weeks, or in this case, this season, it's a 5-week block. You learn a lot about your team because our teams tend to develop and grow a little bit. Even your older guys, you need your best guys, older guys to play their best, and I think we've got examples of that where some of our veteran guys are really playing at a good level and doing a lot of good things. But yeah, you hope there can be some younger guys stepping up and making progress and getting that confidence they need to play well. And that was obviously a big play in the game the other night from a team standpoint, but I hope it was a big play for him as a personal. Because sometimes you just have to have, you have to gain confidence by doing something pretty special in the game. And I thought he did that. It was a great effort on his part, great concentration. And that, that point of the game is really where things turned a little bit for us. That was a huge play in the game. And I'm hoping that'll give him the confidence because I think that's all. He lacks a little bit of experience, a little bit of confidence, like a lot of players that haven't played a lot.
Madison Ertzig, the Gazette. You mentioned after the Rutgers win that was the kind of game that really built confidence as you head into Big Ten play for the rest of the season. Obviously, you weren't expecting Indiana to put up 63 points against Illinois, but knowing that was the immediate aftermath, how does that win against Rutgers continue to reemphasize the confidence boost of a win like that?
Well, we've played 4 games, and 2 of them really came down to, really tight margins, and it came up short the first time, and then at least the other night to fight back and stay in the game, and then take it over a little bit in the fourth quarter. That's typically how it is in conference play. You're going to have a lot of games like that, more games than that way than not. So I think, just every step you can take, if it's a positive, if you can learn something plus have a positive result, that's a big benefit for you. And can't think of any championship seasons I've been involved with where I'll go back to 2002. It looked like we were hitting stride, and then the state of Indiana wore us out, Purdue out here. And then the prior toughest game of the year was at Indiana. I think we had to pick off 3 in the red zone against a team I'm pretty sure that hadn't won a game yet. So it's just in conference play, you just never know when it's going to be or what's going to happen each and every week as much as we all try to predict. So just that mental training for a team to go through it and, have to do it when it's hard, it's a really good thing. And hopefully you accumulate that kind of stuff as you go along and, become a little bit better of a football team.
Chad Lystico, Des Moines Register again. Those of us that have covered you for quite a while, like the last 2 games, you've been very aggressive coming out of the game with some downfield throws. It's been a little bit different. How comfortable are you with that at this point, seeing that 2 weeks in a row, and knowing you're probably going to have to score a lot of points, like you said earlier, to win?
Yeah, I think it's based on your plans are typically based around your players and then your opponent. And we'd always prefer to be aggressive, but you just have to do it smartest too, and you've got to try to give yourself every opportunity to, be in a game. So, yeah, look at our opponent right now. They basically have taken charge real quickly in all their games. Triggered it with a special teams play last week. Get the block punt for a touchdown, and next thing you know, they score. It's 14. They're up 14, whatever it was. I guess 14-7 maybe. But then that second quarter was really a big quarter. They really executed flawlessly, and then it kept on going. But yeah, so I mean, we're going to have to really be aggressive and be smart, but not reckless either. You can't be reckless because you give these guys a short field. That's probably not a great play either. So just got to kind of judge the situation and gauge it. But yeah, we'd prefer to be a little bit more aggressive if we could anytime.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. Kurt Signetti had said that I think he was a GA at Pitt a few years after you were, and maybe cross paths. I mean, is there anything you recall from coming across him then and any time, I guess, over the years?
Truth be told, I'm older than him. So, but anyway, I'm more familiar with his dad. His dad was very well known in Western Pennsylvania, and coached at West Virginia, but had a great career at Indiana, PA. So familiar with him, and then to his point, he followed me by 2 years, I guess, at Pitt, 2 or 3. I think he was there 2 years, and when I was here coaching, every spring break I'd get in the car, we'd go back to Pittsburgh. Both Mary and I's families were there, so we'd split time, and I'd just go down Pitt every day because it worked out timing-wise. They'd always start spring ball ahead of us, so I got to go down there and watch them practice, whatever it was, 3 or 4 times a week, and so you get to meet everybody pretty much on the staff at that point. But I was there mainly just to spend time with Coach Moore. That's kind of what we did.
Jonah Carell with WQAD. Coach, some of your offensive players were talking about how proud they were that they were the reason, or at least one of the main reasons, why you guys won the game. What does their finish and that comeback show you about what they're capable of?
Yeah, I think we're in a little better shape maybe. But I'll go back a couple years ago. We won 4 straight there, and at the end of the season, 2 seasons ago, to put our 10th win up. And, we were more a defensive-oriented team, much like we were in '81. I'll date myself. But that's the way that team was built. But I would also suggest or argue the offense did what they had to do to be successful. And remember hitting a big inside play, LaShawn Williams against Nebraska, and I think we ran a counter against Illinois to put the ball in position to get a winning field goal. So you do what you got to do to win games, and that's really how we were wired. But I think we have a chance now to hopefully be a team that can score a little bit more than we have the last couple of years. That's been part of the goal, and but it's kind of accumulation of a lot of things. You got to have a line that can block. You got to have a quarterback that can operate, and I think we're probably a little bit better at our receiver position and. We've had good backs, but I think we got a good group right now. So hopefully we have enough balance where we can make them have to defend us a couple different ways, and then find some ways to, come up with some points, enough to win with.
Kirk, wanted to ask you about the '85 team being back this weekend, and just some of your memories of that team, and that year was pretty special in Iowa football history.
Yeah, it was just unreal. I talked to Dan McCarney the other day about it, actually on Saturday during our off day. So a lot of great memories, from a coaching standpoint, from the players, and it was kind of a storybook year, if you will. And just like we're talking about now, just mentioned a couple of the tough games that year, the Indiana game especially. No, it was 2002, but anyway, we had a couple of tough ones that year too. I think Indiana was one that year, as a matter of fact. But anyway, you have those highs and lows in the season, but the team just kept working, and great group of guys. Again, not a lot of guys that were high recruits, but just guys that were really good players, and it was such a cohesive group. And so, Coach Fry kind of set the vision for everything, and it was just an unbelievable season. But you talk about players like Chuck Long, Ronnie Harmon. We had a pretty salty lineup there, good tight ends. I mean, enough at every position. Bill Happ was a great receiver. Enough at every position. Our defense is pretty ornery and tough and good on special teams. So, those 3 things kind of consistent to winning teams. If you can get all that working together, you got a shot. And the Michigan game was just an electric environment, maybe as good as I've ever been in. So, at any level, at any time. So, but it's kind of a long road. Then for a guy like Dan McCarney, who played here, grew up here, and played here, I think the appreciation's even deeper because he knew what it was like for those 19 years prior to. So, yeah, pretty cool. It's great to have those guys back. They're going to have a hell of a time. I'm sure I won't even see them, but they're going to have a hell of a time. And I'd encourage them, but they don't need encouragement, knowing those guys. So, yeah, that's good for them. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be.